Welcome back. We've got one more match queued up for this first playoff week. Season 5 of Vintage Super League has been awesome. One of my favorite parts of it has been just watching the crazy brews that Paul Rietzl brings to the table. He's not let us down. His playoff decks so far have included a Goblin Welder deck. They've included a Delver deck and the beauty that we're about to see. You don't know what it is, do you? All right, our players are ready, so get ready, Steve. Let's head down to the match. Spirits is Paul Rietzl's last deck. That card on the left, we told you, people said there's no Eldritch Moon cards in Vintage. Maybe Emrakul. We saw Rich Shea play an Emrakul. Well, had an Emrakul in his hand. He almost won a game with it. Paul Rietzl has gone deeper than that. Paul Rietzl, that was a Mausoleum Wanderer on the left-hand edge of Paul's deck. And there it is again. Spirits!
I know that card, but you guys are the producers are going to have to enlarge most of these cards because I'm pretty sure I don't know what most of these are. I don't know what that land is, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, unfortunately for Paul, he has wound up in a matchup against an Oath of Druids deck. Not just any Oath of Druids deck, but a Shuhei Oath deck. No Forbidden Orchard in this deck. I don't know what's wrong there, but there is a turn 1 Oath of Druids. There it is.
You spoke too soon. We turn 1 Oath and Orchard, of course. And apparently Soul Ring in the process. So he can, of course, do turn 2 Jace or whatever.
He sacrificed Black Lotus for blue mana so that he could preordain for an Orchard and drop a random Soul Ring. He's got Force of Will blue card backup, and Paul's playing a creature deck. Is this a spot where Paul is supposed to just concede?
I think so.
I think we did actually let these guys. Wow, unbelievable. Shuhei Oath, ladies and gentlemen.
So maybe we could take. I don't know if the producer has the deck list. We could take a look at it. I definitely
we'll get to see Paul sideboarding here.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that Eldritch Moon's Mausoleum Wanderer is going to be joined by Spellqueller. Indeed. 4 copies of Spellqueller. There's a Chris Art Meddling Mage.
Is that Tradewind Rider?
Yes, sir.
That is a blast from the past. Remind me what that thing does. Isn't it like... Wait a second. That's a card I have not seen in well over a decade.
Tradewind Rider? Tap 2 untapped creatures and Tradewind Rider. Bounce something. Boomerang.
That's pretty good against Oath. Wow. Unbelievable. I'm assuming it's a spirit.
Yes.
That was a prison card from back in the day, right? Holy smokes. He's got Aether Vial. That's a card we also have not seen in the VSL, I don't think, ever.
Yeah, he's got Containment Priests, which are not spirits, but they're pretty good against Oath.
And, of course, it's anchored by Cavern of Souls. Very nice.
Yeah. I see 4 copies of Rest in Peace.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a match.
Yeah, I guess he's only going to play 3. You see Thalia. It looks like there's only 1 flavor of Thalia in the deck. I've seen people talking about the new Thalia as another potential vintage card.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten some play. I think it was in the Waterbury top 8 or top 16 this weekend.
Nice.
And it's been appearing, I think, in some of the dailies. So the dailies have really shifted to some interesting decks the last couple of weeks or so. Spirits. Woo! I love the question mark, exclamation marks in the title. I think that's important.
I'm pretty sure that's Athena's edition. I agree.
I probably would
entirely called for.
Juxtapose the question mark and the exclamation point, but it's a perfectly reasonable order.
Well, that was a blisteringly fast game 1. Look, this is going to be our last match of the night. Either way, we're going to resume this match. It's not going to end. Like, Paul and Eric's match will be in progress.
Oh, my God. Come on.
What the hell? All I had to do was call my deck Shuhei Oath? That's been the secret? 5 seasons I didn't figure out this trick?
The good news is that Paul Rietzl has Meddling Mage, so he can name Oath of Druids on turn 1. Oh my God, he's got Force of Will for it, though. Ugh. That's frustrating. So how do you sequence this? I think you have to lead. You got to play the Thalia and the Meddling Mage. So he's got to have white,
Yep.
white, and blue, and a colorless, which
He
he'll
does.
have. He'll have
Yeah,
unless Eric forces this here.
Oh
The
wow. Yeah,
Lotus.
Eric could force Black Lotus. So you sack Lotus for white. You cast Thalia first and then Meddling Mage? I
Yeah, I think
think.
so. Wait, is this land? What is this land? This is it. I
It's
honestly have,
Seachrome Coast. Come on, Steve.
I have no clue. Seriously, what does that land do?
It's a tundra. It's a tundra that you can't be fetched. It comes into play tapped if you already have multiple lands, but that basically never happens in Vintage. So
Okay.
it's a usually it comes into play untapped tundra that you can't get with a fetch land.
Okay. What's the advantage of that?
You ran out of tundras? So Thalia resolves and Meddling Mage resolves. Yeah, once Thalia resolves, Eric can't force the Meddling Mage. Chris Pakula, I thought you sacked the season out. Chris Pakula puts in a cameo for season 5.
I'm crying. This is so funny.
This is awesome. I assume you name Oath of Druids, right?
Oh God, I hope so. Come on, you gotta know he's got Oath. You
It is
can't name
Shurei
Orchard.
Oath.
You can't name Orchard. You gotta name Oath.
Oh, he named Swords to Plowshares. I mean, it's hard to argue. A lot of times with Meddling Mage, the right play is, in fact, to name the thing that's going to kill the Meddling Mage. Although even there, Engineered Explosives might be the better name. I don't know. I also know that I have the advantage of getting to see that Eric just drew one. The Thalia does turn off the turn 1 Oath, though. Like the Mox costs 1, the Oath costs 3.
This Spell Queller will actually come online, won't it? We've not seen Spell Queller in the VSL. It's a new card, so...
Why Meddling Mage the Oath of Druids when you can Spell Queller it, right? Oh, Library's going to get wasted is the thing that's going to happen there, though. That said, Library
he has the option, right? He has the
you
option.
You're going to let your opponent keep drawing too?
I wouldn't. I'm just saying he has the option.
I really play the Aether Vial, waste the Library.
With Aether Vial, Spell Queller just becomes, if you can get it up to 3, pretty insane, right?
Maybe Spell Queller is just insane in Vintage. Probably needs to be in a beatdown deck, but it still seems good.
Well, Eric needs to draw Black Lotus and quickly.
Yeah, he's gonna have to tap Orchard just to get Mox Ruby onto the table. Can't actually play a 3-mana Oath of Druids without drawing more mana.
And at this point, there's a good chance that Paul doesn't actually cast any more spells the rest of this game.
Right, for sure.
Another Wasteland. Well, that's about as good as it gets. Paul, of course, Eric had turn 1 Oath and Force, but Paul just beat it with Black Lotus and Thalia and double Wasteland.
Thalia's good.
Oh,
Thalia still good.
We talked about this last week, the ways to attack some of these Gush decks. I like that Paul's deck is... Ooh.
Wow. On to game 3!
We haven't even seen most of it. Hey, this match might be done in under 10 minutes.
That was crazy. Spirits!
I love that he's got the Trade Wind Rider in here. Is that Kira too?
Yeah.
The glass spinner? That is
great
pretty
glass
cool.
Spinner. That's great glass spinner to you, sir.
My mistake. That card is pretty good against a lot of these removal things. So wow. I'm assuming it's a spirit?
I think so. Yeah, it definitely is. It's Kamigawa block. They were all spirits in Kamigawa block.
That's super cool. This is awesome. This is interesting. He's got so many tools. He's got so many tools. He's got Mother of Ruins, and he's got Kira for the the removal. He's got plenty of tools for Oath. He's got the these.
Is he making you a believer? You think this deck's real?
I have no idea. I just love it.
That part's clear. Like win or lose, Paul's winning.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul again, he can cast an uncountable meddling mage. That is so good against Oath. Now, of course, in this particular case, Eric does have a removal spell for meddling mage, but hey, got to give Paul credit for having good answers.
Eric is assuming this preordained is going to find Oath of Druids. He's got the orchard.
Assuming.
Box.
I think the audience assumes. I don't know if Eric does. We assume.
Yeah, you put Jace on top. Eric doesn't have faith. The next card down was probably the Oath.
Wow. I love this.
Yeah, this is being on the draw with no acceleration is a little bit rough. Like this is a super scary situation for Paul. If he survives to start playing Hate Bears on turn 2, that's great. And in fact, he has survived.
This sequencing is unbelievable. I have no idea what you do here. I mean, you got this thing to 1. I don't know, how
you play Cavern of Souls.
Well, that's
Spirit.
But which of these? I mean, you got Meddling Mage here, which could name Oath. You got Thalia, which just slows down everything. He doesn't have Oath.
It's Thalia.
And you also have the Time Walk. The Time Walk is super attractive because it gets your thing to 2. I like that play.
It's counterable. The problem with Time Walk is that it's counterable. He's going to get it spell snared.
It also draws out a counter, which clears the way for more of these spirits.
What do you mean clears the way? They're all coming in through Aether Vial and Cavern of Souls, aren't they?
True. Good point.
Yeah, I don't know about that Time Walk. I'm not convinced. I think Thalia might have been better.
Good point. It's very tempting to get that thing to 2, right? But...
Right. If the Time Walk resolves, it's spectacular, right? You get to do 2 of your Hate Bears. But getting it countered is pretty bad. Of course, now Eric is sitting on Force of Will, blue card, and another counter. And Paul's all Aether Vial and Cavern of Souls. Pyroblast can hit the Meddling Mage and the Spell Queller as permanents, I guess. Eric does also have Jace, obviously. The Mind Sculptor. It feels like Paul's going to be able to pressure the Jace eventually, but there's another reason where if he'd gone Thalia.
So if he plays the Spirit, he forces the Spirit. They're all spirits. If he plays the Spirit of the Labyrinth,
David Bowie Spirit.
Yeah, David Bowie Spirit. This is interesting. The timing is interesting too. So if Eric goes to activate Jace, he can respond by putting in David Bowie Spirit, and then he doesn't. So that would be. But that then also changes his equation for what he plays right here. It's nice that the Spell Queller has flash, right? So he can hold up all of that. I think that's the way you go, right? Just hold it all up.
I mean, Meddling Mage as a response to a spell is also good times.
Oh, that's busted. This is crazy. So he can, here we go. So I think we're going to see Spirit of the Labyrinth come in, which cannot be Pyroblasted either.
Oh my God, this is happening?
This is awesome.
Eric activates.
Wow.
And Paul responds by Aether Vialing Spirit of the Labyrinth into play. This just happened. Eric can't draw more than 1 card. He's already drawn his draw step. So instead, Jace's activated ability is now put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library.
That is so painful.
0. That's not a very good Planeswalker ability, not going to lie.
Right. I mean, that Pyroblast would have been able to... I mean, Paul just played this pretty well, but Pyroblast can't do anything about that. It could certainly kill the Spell Queller or the Meddling Mage. Well, Eric's had enough.
Eric is so blown out that he just scoops. Unbelievable. We wanted to see more turns of you getting destroyed, Eric Froehlich.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Spirits. Paul Rietzl never got to deploy a Spell Queller. Didn't need to. Aether Vial, Spirit of the Labyrinth is response to Jace. Unbelievable. Also, I figured one of the problems with that Thalia line I wanted Paul to do is it required him to name humans with the Cavern. Thalia is not actually a spirit. She's just a human. Right. So that line wasn't as good as I was making it out to be. Still worth considering, but Paul's Time Walk line looks a lot better to me when I think about the fact that he really prefers to name spirit on Cavern. Oh my God. Paul Rietzl wins his match with that spirit stack. Not just wins his match. He beat Oath He beat Shuhei Oath.
And he beat the nuttiest draws just about that Eric could have drawn. I mean, he
You mean
had
one that was Mox, Orchard, Oath, Force of Will, blue card?
yeah.
Paul beat that with Athalia.
In under 10 minutes too. We're not even in Midnight East Coast. So for the players who have stuck around, it's for the viewers who stuck around, they got to see basically a brand new deck break out in Vintage here. I'm praying that Paul plays it for his 5th match. He can play whatever deck he wants, right? Right.
Yes.
So if you're Eric and you are going to be facing this Spirits deck potentially, which deck do you play? Do you play? You break out the Storm deck, which gets crushed by Thalia?
No, no way. You can't play Storm. You cannot play Storm while Paul has Spirits available. So no way.
My guess is we're going to see the Mentor deck face Spirits for round 5.
Mentor versus Spirits? I don't think that Oath... I think the card Oath of Druid should be good against the Spirit deck, right?
Against Spellcaller, Meddling Mage, and Spirit of the Labyrinth?
Spirit of the Labyrinth.
Spirit of the Labyrinth and Containment Priest? I don't know.
I only saw 2 Containment Priests, but it's a fair point. Yeah, maybe Eric just has to play Mentor.
Trade-Win Riders also sounds a little bit nasty. I mean, unless he gets the RX Salvage, I mean, how does he win, really? I mean, it's kind of like Caracas. It's Caracas.
Yeah, it is. Unbelievable. Okay, that's awesome. We're going to pause
more
here.
Magic.
Yes, we're going to have more Magic next week. We're going to resume the match between Paul and Eric. Paul is up 2 matches to 1. It's best 3 out of 5, so Paul just needs to win one of those next 2. And we've seen all their decks now, so they will be able to choose freely from the 3 decks that they brought for that 4th match and that 5th match. After we finish the match between Paul and Eric, Paul will then play Rich Shea. At this point, either Paul or Eric could win the series. Rich can get 3rd place, but he cannot actually win the series because he got swept by Eric, so he'll lose a tiebreaker even if they wind up tied at 1-1 apiece. Wow, that is going to be quite the 2 games. I'm looking forward to that. Be aware, by the way, that next week's show is not going to start at 5 o'clock Pacific. We're going to delay the start time by 1 hour. So we'll be starting at 6 o'clock Pacific, which is 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's the time we used to start seasons ago, but 1 hour later than what we've been starting. Something about Paul having a day job. I don't know. He just, all I ever see the guy do is crush Magic tournaments. So it's sometimes hard to believe that he's got a day job too, but he does.
We're going to give these players a full week to decide what they want to play in round 5.
Yeah, so we've hit pause at kind of the perfect moment, like you say. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to play, but they are going to have a week to think about it. So that should be fun.
I expect to see some people battling with the Spirits deck once it's published in the dailies and stuff. So
I think I'll probably be one of them. Look out, dailies. Here come the Spirits. Awesome. All right. With that, we are going to call it a show. Hope you guys have enjoyed our first week of the playoffs here in Season 5. Come back next week, starting an hour later than normal, but Paul Rietzl has a Spirit deck. He's guaranteed to play it at least once next week. Could play it, or could choose to play it more times than that. Come back then. We'll see how this plays out. Good night, everybody.